Welcome to the Ultra High Net Worth Clients Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Brodhead. Today's incredible business founder guest is David Kang. David, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yes. Hi, I'm David. I'm the founder and CEO of Keeper. We are a tech-enabled tax preparation service for individuals and small business owners. And what we do is we pair clients with high-quality accountants and tax experts to deliver advice and consultations. But then behind the scenes, we're very proactive with the use of AI and technology to automate the grunt work. So things like data entry and tax document collection are kind of all handled by the system. And this is how we are able to scale our service to a broader audience while making that personal touch still accessible. So since starting Keeper in 2019, we have grown now to serving over 40,000 clients a year. Quick background for me before starting Keeper, I started my career in quantitative finance. So I graduated from University of Chicago with a math and economics major. And then I spent 5 years working as an options trader for a hedge fund out in Chicago. And it was fun. It was fast paced. I learned a ton. But towards the end of that, I really wanted to do something that had a bit more real world impact. And so, after some searching and playing around, Keeper was kind of the thing that I pursued.
Nice. How did you come up with the idea for Keeper Tax, and how did you know that was the right idea to pursue?
Yeah. So basically, this was in 2018. We had a decade of, FANG and big tech companies really coming on the scene, and tech was kind of a very sexy space. It was definitely something I was interested in kind of pivoting to from like a pure finance role. And I had a thesis around, there's a ton of just these, I would say, less sexy, more run-of-the-mill industries, things like compliance, things like government work, things like taxes, that I felt like were being overlooked by some of the more splashy types of tech products being built. And so I thought, there's an opportunity there for someone at a time who was an outsider to the space to come in and make a difference without having to compete necessarily with the best and brightest of people who had been doing tech since they were, 5 years old. And so, initially I was looking at some, government compliance type work, but that's kind of a limited, very niche market. And I had, a ton of friends and family came to me with tax questions. They felt like because I was in finance that I could answer their tax issues, which was obviously not true. But then I realized, hey, actually, this is a big problem for a lot of folks. And the industry hadn't been disturbed or disrupted a ton since TurboTax came out in the 90s. And so that's really where we got the idea for Keeper. Can we bring modern technology to the industry to deliver kind of a 21st century experience?
And can you promise to kill QuickBooks and TurboTax just for my enjoyment?
That is the mission. We don't quite phrase it that way, but that is kind of that is our internal heart shoulder. Yeah.
I could not despise those companies more. Like, like, who are they paying off to stay in business? That is the worst platform with like the most antiquated tools, and sometimes you have to have it because like your clients can only accept like pay you through it. I'm just like, am I really paying these people $40 a month?
Right. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, obviously they also have a big lobbyist arm, so they're incentivized to kind of keep the tax system convoluted and sort of accessible. Recent news came out that I think Direct File, which was the program that was supposed to be free from the IRS, has now been shelved, I think. So, taxes remain complex, and you have to kind of pay up to get it done.
Yeah. So are you from Chicago originally?
So I'm from the Midwest. I grew up in suburbs of Minneapolis.
Okay.
First, 18 years I was there, and then I went to school at U Chicago, and then I stayed there. So I was a Midwest boy until pretty recently.
Yeah, that's awesome. I lived in Chicago 2011 to 2020.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Quite well.
I'm a big fan of about May 1st to like October 1st. The
That's
best
right.
city on earth.
Right, exactly. I always joke, yeah, you're it's half the cost of living, but you're only getting really half the year.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
gotta pay for it.
it's an amazing city, especially right now. You got the Air and Water Show this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So you Chicago is an amazing school. Uh, Many of my clients got their MBAs there. How did U of Chicago impact your trajectory?
Yeah, amazing school. I think to this day they kind of retain a bit of a distinct brand. At least back in the day, they really leaned into their brand of where fun goes to die, um, which is very aggressive for an 18-year-old looking to have some fun at college. Um,
Yeah.
but they're kind of just a very rigorous theory-based institution. And so particularly as I went down the finance path initially, I felt like I was just kind of grounded in like the fundamentals in a way that some of my peers who maybe kind of studied things at a practical level kind of knew how to do specific tasks, but didn't have kind of like that deeper picture of how to think from first principles, how to tackle problems by breaking down things into smaller steps. And I felt like that gave me a leg up just in terms of like thinking about my career, thinking about, when I pivoted from finance to more of this tech plus finance uh, trajectory, that I was able to kind of really reason from just um, like from basic building blocks in a way that, it would be tough if I'm just like spending all of my time in Excel or something in a more kind of like practical finance major.
Awesome. Awesome. So, getting back to Keeper, do you call it Keeper or Keeper
We call it
Tax?
Keeper. I mean, so yeah, so I think we're registered as Keeper Tax, but we're kind of doing business as Keeper. It's a bit of a
Okay.
short name, so.
Nice, nice. Millennial. If you're a millennial, you probably think Trapper Keeper. You're gonna need that one. Can you tell me how you got traction with this idea initially and how you're continuing to grow?
Yeah. So that's a fun story. So basically, taxes are a very big market. Everyone has to do it, basically. And it doesn't make sense to start by just saying, we'll serve anyone, because, usually what happens in that case is you kind of help everyone, but like poorly. And so we focus specifically on a relatively niche market, which is freelancers and gig workers. So in 2019, that was kind of the tail end of that. That sector was booming. You had your Ubers, you had your DoorDashes, they were getting huge. And they suffered from a particular problem, which is that they need to track their business expenses, right? So if you're, doing Uber and you got to like track your car miles, you got to like, if you're buying supplies or snacks or anything, like all of that is like tax deductible. And basically, we built a deduction tracking system for that audience, which encompassed about 50 million Americans. And we built it in a way that was just easy. It was automatic. It didn't require you to make complex rules or do end of month kind of account closing like what you have to do in QuickBooks. And that was our beachhead feature that allowed us to kind of scale to thousands of clients initially. And over time, on the backside, we then built out tax preparation services. As it turns out, you're not just interested in deduction tracking. Deduction tracking is a piece of the puzzle on the way to getting your taxes done. And so when we started with that product, we then brought in the overall tax preparation platform. And today we are now a more general service that covers a wide range of complexities. And specifically, we're focused on mid complexity filers. So folks who have very simple taxes, if you just have a W-2, you can get it done with free tax, USA or something like that's great. But half of Americans still go to a tax preparer or to an accountant. And that is the sector that we're trying to go after.
Mhm. Awesome. Whoa. Why should folks use your platform over TurboTax,
Yeah.
QuickBooks, or a regular accountant?
Yeah. So that is the question. So it turns out today that a lot of people already choose to not use TurboTax. The stat I cited earlier is maybe the most surprising one, and the one that kind of drives our business mission, which is that about 53, if you look at returns filed last year, 53% of them in the US of the 80 million that were filed were done through a professional preparer. So not DIY, not do it yourself, which necessarily excludes, software or like paper filing by hand. And I think that points to when we talk to clients of ours and other people who are looking for accountants, there are a lot of just complex situations out there. You might have rental property, you might be an expat like yourself, you might have investments. And generally, these folks feel like there's more to be optimized around their taxes, and TurboTax is not a great solution for figuring that stuff yourself. And that is really the market we're after, not the folks who do feel comfortable, but the ones who don't. And these days, accountants are really tough to find. If you know anything about the industry, you know that it's kind of an aging group of folks. About 75% of them are looking to retire over the next 5 years, is a stat that I've heard. And so, what a lot of folks are, they're leaving cookies, they're sending muffins to try to get off of the wait list for these like high quality accountants. And so there aren't that many great alternatives. And what we offer is a service that is available and very high quality and very efficient because of our use of technology within the experience.
Awesome. So how did you find clients when you started, and how do you find clients today?
So when we started, again, it was very much a freelancer-based audience, and we ran a lot of ads basically online. We still do a ton of that today. So you can imagine fun Instagram or TikTok, ads. Basically, we do a concept called UGC, user generate content. So for folks who have used Keeper and had a great experience, we'll often ask them, hey, are you interested in recording a short video for us? And explaining what you liked, why it was helpful. And so these are real, essentially, customer testimonials. And what we find is that really connects with a lot of other folks. If you're seeing an authentic review as opposed to someone who's an actor, that tends to resonate with a lot of people. And then today, we still do a lot of that. We also write a lot of articles. A lot of people, especially if you're in this mid-complexity to high complexity scenario, you're doing a lot of Googling yourself. You're searching through ChatGPT maybe these days. And so what we want to be is like high up in the search results or even cited by a ChatGPT or an LLM so that people get directed to our content. They see us as an authority on certain topics. Then they're interested in maybe setting up an initial consultation with one of our accountants.
Are there any specific strategies you're employing to get cited by more large language models?
Yeah, so that's a fun one. In tech, that is a space that is evolving in real time. No one really knows what they're doing, so I can't pretend to be an expert here. But at the moment, it kind of seems like the same strategies that worked for pure SEO, by which I mean search engine optimization, how you rank on Google, also applies to LLM ranking. Essentially, ChatGPT is doing a Bing or a Google search and often citing the top results. So we can place highly on Google. We stand a good chance of being cited by ChatGPT. So that's kind of, so basically there's no fundamental change, but I do think over time, there are little tweaks that are being made on the margin to try to get into the good graces of ChatGPT.
Got it. So are you continuing to focus on freelancers, or are you expanding to small business owners, or who's like your ideal growth client next?
So our client is anyone who doesn't want to use TurboTax, which is about 50% of Americans. Yeah, there you go. So anyone who feels compelled to go to an accountant, but is having trouble finding one, is almost a perfect client. So one of my good friends, she's a radiologist in Los Angeles, and she set up an S Corp because at that income level, there's a ton of tax benefits to putting a legal structure, a corporate structure around that. And she had an accountant who retired, And suddenly she had no other option. She was looking to pay several $1,000s. The cheapest option was citing $2,500 to file taxes for S corp, and she was on a wait list. She couldn't even just sign up. And so we offered, her a spot with our service for about $1,000, over half the price, under half the price, and she's had a great experience so far. And so a client like her, a client like others who might be in a similar boat, um, is what we're looking for. So someone who's a little bit more sophisticated. That includes a lot of freelancers still, right? If you're a freelancer, you have to do this business deduction, expense tracking, business. But even for other folks, I think they're getting a lot of value out of a platform that merges the human element of working with an accountant with the efficiency and scalability and reliability of software.
Mhm. Okay, got it. So sort of high earners with potentially complex filing needs.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, cool. And it seems like if you just wait 5 years, 75% of the real people will be retired.
That's kind of the idea, right? Yeah. But they'll come to us is kind of our theory at the moment. Like, my friend
Yeah.
initially was, we're good friends, but she was like, I really want to go in person. I don't know. She's, a lot of people are old school, and we're virtual based. And she came crawling back because there was not a good option out there. So we'll see.
Awesome. Does it, I mean, it sounds like it saves a lot of time. Is this also, this might be a dumb question, but is this also like bookkeeping for you?
So
Or is that
bookkeeping is a service, so corporate level. So what we do, so when we talk about expense tracking, it's kind of a subset of bookkeeping. So if you
Yeah.
are filing an individual return and you have kind of a freelance income on the side, there's a form that you have to fill out called a Schedule C, which essentially, is like the bookkeeping record of what happened over the year. And we do the expense management portion of that form. So we know kind of what you spend on supplies, what you spend on your home office, what you spend on auto. But what we don't do is create financial statements, balance sheets, P&L statements, things that would be required for true corporate structures like a C corp or an S corp. That's a service that we're considering expanding into, but it's not a high percentage of our current client base. And so generally, we focus on people just who are complex, but primarily just filing like an individual 1040 return. That's kind of our sweet spot at the moment.
Mhm. Okay, awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, we are coming towards the end of our time together. I have one final question for you. And that is an open-ended question. You can take it in any direction that you like. And the question is, what are you working towards?
We are trying to build a generalized tech accounting platform that can serve the 40 to 50 million Americans a year who don't want to think about their taxes and are overpaying for accountants and are spending too much time thinking about taxes. And yeah, we want to potentially take down QuickBooks and TurboTax to your point earlier.
I will be cheering you on. Oh, awesome. David, where can my audience find out more about you?
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Where can my audience find out more about you?
Oh, yes. So our website is www.keepertax.com. And you can also find us on social, Instagram or TikTok, Facebook. If you just search for our handle at KeeperTax. And if you're Googling around for tax articles, you might very well run into some of our content.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, David, thank you so much for taking the time, man. It was a real pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you.
Awesome. And to all our listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in and keep on growing out there, everybody.